Complexity is the ultimate shield for a weak story. In the modern era of shonen, we've been conditioned to believe that better means more subplots, more convoluted magic systems, more 20-minute exposition dumps that require a PhD in metaphysics just to understand how a punch works. We've become complexity snobs, and because of that, Demon Slayer has become the ultimate target. The most common criticism aimed at Demon Slayer is that it's too simple. Critics call it a baby's first shonen. They say it's predictable, linear path from point A to point B with nothing but high budget animation to carry it. But here's the truth that the elitists hate. Simplicity is not a lack of depth, it's a choice. There is a reason Demon Slayer didn't just succeed, it dominated the culture zeitgeist. It didn't win because it was the most innovative. It won because it was the most resonant. It traded world building for heart building. It stopped trying to confuse your brain and started trying to break your heart. Over the course of this video, we're going to dismantle the idea that basic is a bad word. In a post-anti-hero world, goodness is often mistaken for weakness. We've spent the last decade of gritty TV and dark shonen being conditioned to believe that better means broken. We've become obsessed with characters like Eren Yeager or Billy Butcher, who are defined by their cynicism, their trauma, and their morally compromised choices. We've reached a point where a pure hero feels like an outlier. Enter Tanjiro. He has no hidden agenda, no secret dark side, and no psychological edge to make him more interesting to the critics. He is simply a boy who wants to save his sister. Often labelled as one-dimensional, but they are fundamentally misreading the character. Tanjiro isn't simple because he's shallow. He's simple because he's resolved. In a world of demons, Tanjiro's empathy is his most dangerous weapon. His motivation is built on a primitive stake, the oldest story in human experience: family. And because this why is so clear, the story never has to stop to justify its actions. We don't need a convoluted flashback every 3 episodes to remind us why he's swinging the sword. We feel the weight of his grief in every frame. This clarity allows Demon Slayer to achieve something rare in the genre. It allows the hero to be empathetic to the villains without losing his lethality. Tanjiro doesn't kill out of hate, he kills out of necessity. And still, he mourns the loss of the human life the demon once held. He doesn't offer forgiveness for their crimes. He offers dignity in their final moments. That isn't basic writing. That's a level of emotional maturity that most complex shows never reach. By keeping the hero's goal uncomplicated, the audience's emotional tether to him never frays. We aren't guessing his next move or questioning his loyalty. We are feeling his struggle. We see it in the grueling mountain training, in the blood on his hands, and in the way he gasps for air. Tanjiro's simple heart is the anchor to the entire series, and it's the light that makes the darkness of the demons feel truly suffocating. Without his purity, the high-octane battles would just be empty noise. But with it, every swing of his blade feels like a prayer. You might not believe me when I say this, but he is the hero we actually needed. Not because he's new, but because he's a return to form. He proves that you don't need to be dark to be deep. You just need to be human. In the arms race of modern shonen, power systems have become incredibly bloated. We've traded cool for complicated. We've reached a point where you need a flow chart and a calculator to actually understand how a character survived a specific encounter. But Demon Slayer rejected the trend. The series introduces breathing styles. It's a system so intuitive that you understand it within 5 seconds of seeing it. Water flows, fire burns, thunder strikes. There are no hidden conditions, no binding vows that take 3 pages to explain, and no complex mana management. You breathe, you swing, and the visual tells the story. People argue that this makes the fights mindless. I argue that it makes them cinematic, because the rules are simple. Ufotable is free to use the animation as a narrative tool. When Tanjiro is fighting, we aren't distracted by the how, we are captivated by the what. We see the struggle in his lungs, the weight in his feet, and the literal flow of his sword. This is visual storytelling in its purest form. By using elemental metaphors, the show communicates power levels and emotional shifts through color and motion rather than dialogue. If a flame gets brighter, the hero is winning. If the water turns to a stagnant pool, they're losing. It's primal, it's effective, it's universal. universal. By keeping the magic grounded in physical breathing and swordplay, the stakes remain physical. The characters aren't just out of mana, they're out of air. This simplicity creates a zero barrier entry. A 10-year-old and a 60-year-old can watch the same fight and feel the same exact tension. No homework required. But a perfect power system needs a perfect setting to push it to its limits. And that's where the monster of the week structure stops being a cliché and starts being a weapon. In the age of the TV show slow burn, we've forgotten the power of a straight line. We've become obsessed with sprawl. Modern stories love to wander. They give us 5 different perspectives, 3 branching timelines, and enough world building to fill an encyclopedia. But Demon Slayer is a bullet. It has one direction, forward. It follows a mission-based structure that often gets dismissed as repetitive. But here's what people miss. The structure creates a narrative rhythm. Train, travel, fight, recover, repeat. By keeping the scope small, the series keeps the pacing tight. Every arc has a beginning, a middle, and a definitive end. Think about the Mugen Train arc. It's the ultimate metaphor for the show's structure. You're on a track. You can't go left, you can't go right, you just go faster. We don't spend 3 seasons waiting for a payoff. Demon Slayer understands that a simple promise kept is better than a complex promise broken. It avoids the Game of Thrones trap. It doesn't get so big that it collapses under its own weight. It stays focused on the Kamado siblings. This predictability isn't a lack of imagination, it's a mastery of tension. We know a fight is coming. We know the stakes. The how is what keeps us watching. It's the comfort of a heartbeat. It's the rhythm that builds and builds until the finale just doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like an explosion. But even a perfect rhythm needs a melody. And for Demon Slayer, that melody is played on the heartstrings of tragedy. In our current obsession with relatable villains, we've lost the art of the pure tragedy. We want to be able to say, well, they have a point. But Demon Slayer does something far more haunting. Its villains are undeniably, unforgettably evil. They don't have a point. They have a disease. And by making the act of being a demon a purely predatory, soul-rotting curse, the show simplifies the conflict, which allows it to maximize the pathos. We don't get the sad backstory before the fight to make us hesitate. We get it after the fight as they're turning to ash. And this is a crucial distinction. The show doesn't ask you to agree with them. It asks you to pity them. It restores their dignity at the exact moment of their death. Take a second to think about the Gyutaro and Daki finale. They weren't trying to change the world. They were 2 starving children who were failed by society and chose the only hand that reached out to them. This is a simple backstory, yes. Poverty, desperation, love. But because it's simple, it's universal. You don't need to understand the politics of the Edo period to feel the weight of their tragedy. By keeping the villainy straightforward, the show avoids the trap of moral exhaustion. We already know who we're rooting for, which leaves our hearts open to the sadness of the kill. It's a reminder that even the most monstrous among us were once just children in the snow, and that realization hits harder than any complex political motive ever could. But if the story is simple, and the tragedy is this focused, why does it feel so massive? Why does this small story feel like a myth? We live in an era where the word masterpiece has become synonymous with subversion. We think a story only has value if it breaks the rules. But there is a different kind of genius, one that doesn't care about being new. It only cares about being true. Demon Slayer is the ultimate middle ground. It took the foundation laid by Dragon Ball and Naruto, stripped away all the filler and polished the core until it shone like a diamond. It reminded us that we don't always need a puzzle to solve. Sometimes we just need a fire to sit by. We need a story that tells us that kindness is a strength, that family is worth dying for, and that even the darkest night ends with a sunrise. The simple story is its strength because it's honest. It doesn't hide behind layers of lore or meta commentary. It looks you in the eye and asks you to care. In this day and age, as stories become more algorithmic and intellectualized, Demon Slayer stands as a monument to the power of the human heart. It's not mid. It's not basic. It's a masterclass in execution over novelty. It is the proof that you don't need to reinvent the wheel to make the world stop and watch it turn. So the next time you hear someone dismiss a story for being too simple, ask them this: when was the last time a complex story ever made you cry for a monster? Maybe the problem isn't that the story is too simple. Maybe the problem is that we've forgotten how to appreciate the beauty of a straight line. Thank you for watching. If you agree that simplicity is a superpower, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments which simple anime do you think is actually a masterpiece.